All right, let's take a look at these god rolls. And by the way, this image up here looks absolutely sick. So I haven't looked through these yet, so this is just going to be my reaction alongside breaking them down as we go along. But obviously, as we saw from the stream, there are going to be some crazy good perks in these things. So first off, we have Forbearance. Now they do give a little rundown of what the weapons are, but we're just going to skip right to the perks. So in the third column, it's going to have Unrelenting Stats Roll, Demolitionist, Ambitious Assassin, Surplus, Steady Hands, and Disruption Break. And then the fourth column, Wellspring, Golden Tricorn, One for All, Bait and Switch, Chain Reaction, Rampage, and Desperate Measures. Now from what I'm seeing with these perks, you're probably still going to go with Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin, just like your normal raid roll, but it does have the new perk Desperate Measures, which can be pretty interesting, getting a damage boost up with this origin trait. And by the way, the origin trait on these weapons will give you grenade energy if you get kills while on a light subclass, and melee energy if you get kills while on a darkness subclass. So it actually is pretty good for getting your abilities back. So I could see maybe playing into the new Desperate Measures perk, because that does play into your abilities as well. But for the most part, I think for Forbearance, you're still going to go with Chain Reaction, Ambitious Assassin. It does have some fun combinations like Demo and Wellspring. Pairing that with that origin trait, you can get a lot of ability energy back. And with the nerf to Chain Reaction coming in final shape, maybe this could be the new go-to role. But for the most part right now, I think you're going to be going for Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin. But I would keep an eye out for some of these damage perks, because Chain Reaction will be getting nerfed. And then for PvP, it does have Disruption Break in the third column, but in all honesty, there's really no good fourth column PvP perk unless you can get multi-kills with all these damage perks. I think this is going to be more so still suited for PvE, and I guess you could kind of make Disruption Break work in PvE, but I think it's going to be better on other weapons, because you really want to just mainly use these for ad clear. But I mean, hey, if it takes a shield off, you can swap to your primary and do some more damage. But all right, let's move on to Succession. Let's get this one out the way. They're getting the two rate weapons out the way. In the third column, this one will have Moving Target, No Distractions, Select from Gold, Reconstruction, Firmly Planted, Demolitionist, and Discord, alongside Snapshot Sights, Redirection, Recombination, Vorpal Weapon, Focus Fury, Firing Line, Box Breathing, and Desperate Measures. So for PvE in this first column, you have Left from Gold and Reconstruction, maybe even Demolitionist. In the fourth column, Recombinations, very, very good. Vorpal's very good. Focus Fury is okay. I really wouldn't use this for DPS though. Firing Line, again, really wouldn't use it for DPS, but it is there. Box Breathing you can make work. In Desperate Measures, I probably wouldn't worry about that since this is a sniper rifle. But again, you have the classic combination, Reconstruction or Recombination. That's what most people run on the Succession as it is right now. And again, if you want to take Vorpal, you could run that, and that will also be extremely good. This is mainly just used for taking out high health targets and things like GMs and stuff. If you want to use a DPS sniper, I would definitely just recommend a rapid fire frame, because they inherently do a lot more DPS than the high impact ones, but these are going to be better for just taking a chunk of health off, and that's what you really want to build into. Reconstruction, Recombination, everything works in the background. You do a lot of damage, you never have to reload. It's very, very solid. Now for PvP, Moving Target, No Distractions, Firmly Planted, and I guess you could also make Discord work. But you also have Snapshot Sights, and that's honestly pretty much it in the fourth column. I guess you could make Box Breathing work with No Distractions. But Snapshot, Firmly Planted, Snapshot, Moving Target, these are going to be very, very solid PvP roles, and you can have a nice sniper. But again, I think this is more so going to be set up for PvE, because there are a lot of good PvP snipers out there right now. So for PvE, again, Reconstruction, Recombination, you can maybe even throw Left from Gold on there. But now we have Falling Guillotine. In the third column, we have Vorpal, Relentless Strikes, Repulsor Brace, Frenzy, Attrition Orbs, Chain Reaction, and Duelist Trance. Alongside the fourth column, Surrounded, Whirlwind Blade, Destabilizing Rounds, Eager Edge, Bait and Switch, Sword Logic, and Desperate Measures. So I'm already seeing some very, very interesting things with this, is the fact that Vorpal can roll in the third column, and you can pair that with another damage perk. Now Vorpal is only going to be a 10% on heavy weapons, so I don't know if this is going to be anything too crazy, but the fact that you can roll with two damage perks could be very, very good. And speaking of damage perks, it also has Frenzy, which is going to be a little bit higher than Vorpal. You just have to be in the fight for a little bit, but since it is a sword, I imagine you'll be able to proc this quite a lot, honestly. So this could also be the play. You just get more damage if you're in a boss fight, but then you can pair that with any of these damage perks. Surrounded, Whirlwind Blade, Bait and Switches on here, and Sword Logic and Desperate Measures. Again, you're really going to use this probably for single target damage, but if you want to use it for ad clear, you have those as well. So Surrounded, one of the highest damage perks in the game. They said we can make these enhanceable when final shape comes out. So Surrounded with Frenzy paired together, this could be the new bequest. It could be a lot better. We'll just have to wait and see. Frenzy, Bait and Switch for like just an easy activation, or Bait and Switch Vorpal, so you don't really have to worry about enemies being around. You're in the fight to proc Frenzy, you're also in the fight to proc Surrounded, whereas Vorpal, Bait, Switch, you just do it yourself. So that could potentially also be very, very strong. I think this sword has a lot of potential for PvE, and even if you don't want to take double damage perks, you could go with like Relentless Strikes as well for ammo, and even Repulsor Brace to stabilizer rounds for, you know, just survivability and ad clear as well. Again, also Chain Reaction, Sword Logic, Desperate Measures, that's also going to be very good for ad clear. Let's be honest, most people are going to be using this for single target damage, and you're going to be taking double damage perks on this thing. And then it is notable, if you don't have an Eager Edge sword, this can roll with Eager Edge, and it is on a Vortex frame, so if you didn't get the Slammer, you can try to get this one, and this will be pretty solid. And since it is a sword of PvP, I mean, I guess the only main perk is Eager Edge, but again, kind of like the other ones, this is a PvE weapon. But now let's move on to the Recluse. In the third column, we're going to have Feed and Frenzy, Enlighten Action, Subsistence, Threat Detector, Repulsor Brace, Hip Fire Grip, and Dynamic Sway Reduction. In the fourth column, Master of Arms, Target Lock, Frenzy, Destabilize Around, Surround It, Tap the Trigger, and Desperate Measures. So starting right off, we have some great PvE perks. Feed and Frenzy, Enlighten Action, Subsistence, Threat Detector is really good, Repulsor Brace. All these are very solid PvE perks. Master of Arms is also back. It is not going to be in its crazy state, so it's not going to be what it used to be, but I imagine this will still be pretty good. But even if you don't want that, Frenzy's also on here for another damage perk. Desperate Measures as well, which could potentially be the play. Even if you want to have a Destabilizing Rounds Repulsor Brace roll, that would also be very, very solid. You have to remember the Origin trait will give you energy back, and if you are playing into volatile rounds, you're going to be playing Void. That just means now every kill you get will be granting grenade energy back. I think Recluse is going to be absolutely disgusting for Void builds, simply for the fact that not only can you get that grenade energy back, you can play into Echo of Undermining, but you can now also have things like Repulsor Brace on it if that is something you would like to run. Now, I think for the most part, for me, I'm going to just going with Feed and Frenzy and Master of Arms, just the classic roll. I may swap that out for Desperate Measures, since that will also give you a damage boost when getting ability kills, since you're going to be able to spam your abilities anyway. I think Feed and Frenzy, Desperate Measures could be a very, very solid roll, but there's really nothing bad here. Like, all these are very, very solid. Take any damage perk, any reload perk, you're going to be good to go. Now, for me personally, I think I'm just going to go with a reload speed perk, either Feed and Frenzy or Enlighten Action. We'll have to see which one gives the most reload speed the easiest, and then just pairing that with the damage perk. I mean, Master of Arms is still going to be pretty solid, and then Desperate Measures is going to be another damage perk, and since the Origin trait gives you ability energy back, you can stack this up a lot easier, because when you get ability kills with Desperate Measures, it will give you a higher damage boost. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see the numbers on everything, but this thing is going to be crazy, crazy strong. And then for PvP, you also have, you know, Hip Fire Grip, Dynamic Sway Reduction, alongside Tap the Trigger and Target Lock. I mean, Target Lock did get nerfed on SMGs, but I imagine this is still going to be a very, very solid SMG if Master of Arms still works the same way, which I'm pretty sure it does. If you get another ability kill, you'll get more damage when you swap to the weapon. If this had Cascade Point on it as well with Master of Arms, that could be pretty fun. But I think, again, this is going to be one of the best SMGs in the game. This is one you're definitely going to want to farm, and it is going to pair extremely well with almost any Void build in the entire game. Now let's move on to the Mountaintop with its new thing where you can rocket jump with it, which is very sick. But in the third column, we have Ambitious Assassin, Impulse Amplifier, Demolitionist, Left from Gold, Slick Draw, Auto-Loading Holster, and Overflow, alongside Rampage, Vorpal Weapon, Adrenaline Junkie, One for All, Harmony, Recombination, and Frenzy. So starting off for PvE, I mean, Ambitious Assassin is honestly not that bad, because this isn't that bad of an ad clear weapon. It pretty much just insta-kill anything you shoot at it. But, you know, Demo, Left from Gold, these are also nice. Auto-Loading Holster is probably what most people is going to run, because it'll just load in the background. You can shoot a shot. This is the OG roll. You also have Overflow on it now, which could potentially be pretty cool. You can get 2 shots in it, but I honestly think Auto-Loading Holster will probably be better overall. But then in the fourth column, you have a ton of damage perks. You probably aren't going to be taking the ad clear ones like Rampage and Adrenaline Junkie, but, you know, Vorpal, and what I'm most interested in it is Recombination. Recombination is very, very good. Basically what this does, if you don't know, if you get energy kills, will actually stack this up, and you could do a ton of damage with only the first shot. It kind of is like a mini Izanagi in a way. So having this on a auto-loading Mountaintop, this could potentially be disgusting, and I'm very excited to see how that is going to play out. But even if you don't want that, auto-loading Vorpal is still going to be very good if you're just, you know, swapping this to do some extra boss damage. And again, if you want to play into ad clear, Ambitious Assassin's also nice, but we're probably going to be using obviously wave frames for ad clear. But again, don't sleep on Mountaintop for ad clear. It's very, very solid. For PvE, you have Impulse Amplifier. I imagine Slick Draw wouldn't even be that bad on this thing. Alongside that, you also have Harmony, which could potentially be very good. You know, if you get an energy kill, you could even play into recombination as well. There aren't too many crazy ones in the fourth column, but impulse amplifier is probably what you're just going to run on this thing if you are using it in PvP. But they do state that they didn't want to return to the Mountaintop PvP meta, so I don't know how strong this is exactly going to be. They did say it will retain its PvE strength, so what we used to do with it in PvE is still going to be disgusting. So definitely be sure to be on the lookout for an auto-loading and recombination, auto-loading Vorpal, and then we can even test out the Ambitious Assassin Overflow, but you know, just auto-loading with one of these damage perks is going to be disgusting. But now let's move on to Hammerhead. In the third column, we're going to have Feeding Frenzy, Destabilizing Rounds, Envious Assassin, Rampage, 4 times the Charm, Rewind Rounds, and Under Over, alongside Surrounded, High Impact Reserves, Target Lock, Onslaught, Kill and Tally, Desperate Measures, and Tap the Trigger. So the role that got everyone excited on stream was Rampage and Kill and Tally, which is solid. I mean, it's 2 damage perks. That's always very solid on most weapons. Now, I think when you're using a machine gun, you don't really need 2 damage perks. You're mainly just using it to add clear, and that's kind of what the gun's already built for anyway. So having 1 damage perk, in my opinion, is more than enough. But if you want to play into 2 damage perks with it, you absolutely can do that. But I think what is cooler is the fact that it does have Feed and Frenzy on it, but Envious Assassin. I think Envious Assassin on a machine gun is going to be absolutely disgusting. You're never going to have to reload it. It's going to have a large magazine whenever you swap to it for ad clear, and I think it could potentially be very, very strong. Now, it does also have 4 times the Charm and Rewind Rounds if you're trying to go for a DPS route, but Hammerhead is not a 900 RPM, so I would never try to use this thing for DPS, so you can pretty much just throw those out the window. But for damage perks, you have things like Kill and Tally, and what I think is the most interesting thing is the fact that it comes with Onslaught. Onslaught on a machine gun is just going to be disgusting. Now, I can 100% see pairing Rampage and Onslaught together, you're getting the damage increase and you're getting the fire rate. This is just going to be breakneck, but in a machine gun form. This thing is just going to slay ads. It is going to be absolutely disgusting. With this origin trait giving you ability energy back on kills, I think this is going to be by far the best machine gun in the game. You don't even have to pair it with Rampage. Again, you can go Onslaught, Envious Assassin, Onslaught, Feed and Frenzy. I mean, that is just going to be disgusting. I cannot wait to get my hands on an Onslaught roll and just see the amount of potential that it has. But again, Kill and Tally is still also very, very good if you just want to go for a traditional damage perk. And another thing I haven't mentioned is the fact that the Stabilizing Rounds rolls in the third column. So again, if you are using this for actor, you can now just apply Volatile alongside having a damage perk or a fire rate perk. It is going to be crazy. Now for PvP, they honestly didn't put too much in this third column. It does have things like Rampage for multi-kills, and that's probably going to be your best perk, but it does have high impact reserves and tap the trigger, so pairing Rampage with high impact reserves could be crazy good in PvP, but if you want a more just accurate machine gun, tap the trigger is there. Hammerhead was disgusting in PvP back when it originally came out. I think this is probably going to be the best machine gun for Crucible as well, so Hammerhead is coming to take over the game for both PvE and PvP. Definitely be on the lookout for this thing, and that's one I would highly recommend you farm. Now let's move on to Blast Furnace. In the third column, we have Zen Moment, Snapshot, Shoot to Loot, Keep Away, Perpetual Motion, Kinetic Tremors, and Head Seeker, alongside Kill Clip, Firefly, One for All, Frenzy, Rampage, Rapid Hit, and Desperate Measures. So for PvE in this first column, you have things like Shoot to Loot, which is nice, but you also have Kinetic Tremors in the first column now, which can be very, very strong. And then in the second column, you have Kill Clip, Firefly. These are always solid options. One for All is going to be crazy good if you do pair that with Kinetic Tremors. This could be a very, very solid Grandmaster weapon. Frenzy's also there. Rampage again. Rapid Hit's also pretty good, and then Desperate Measures. You're not really going to be using this for ad clear, but this could be good. Pulse rifles aren't super strong in the PvE meta, but Blast Furnace was one of the pulse rifles that was very good, so this could potentially make a play. With Kinetic Tremors, One for All, that is going to just be a disgusting Grandmaster weapon. You're going to get a damage boost. You're going to get extra damage with Kinetic Tremors. But again, if you want to pair it with ad clear with Desperate Measures, Kill Clip, any of these, ad clear based perks, that would also be very, very strong. I think where this is going to shine the most though is PvP. As you see, they loaded this thing up with PvP perks. We have Zen Moment, Snapshot, Keep Away, Head Seeker, Perpetual Motion. And then in the fourth column, honestly, the only one you really have is Kill Clip. I mean, you can obviously make the other perks work as well, but Kill Clip is just going to be your go-to. Kill Clip Head Seeker is going to be disgusting. If you want to run Kill Clip alongside Keep Away, that's also going to be very, very good. But I think having the multi-kill potential of Kill Clip and Head Seeker is going to be by far the way to go. But if you want to go for things like Zen Moment, Kill Clip, that is still also going to be disgusting. But let's move on to Edge Transit. So in the third column, we're going to have Chain Reaction, Cascade Point, Impulse Amplifier, Field Prep, Ambitious Assassin, Envious Assassin, and Repulsor Brace, alongside Frenzy, Destabilizer Rounds, Deconstruct, One for All, Bait and Switch, Full Court, and Explosive Light. Oh lord, so they actually did it. They actually made this the best grenade launcher in the game. So if you didn't know, Cataphract was like pretty much the best DPS option in the game now, with Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch. Well, now Edge Transit has it, and you don't have to play Trials. So for PvE, you know, starting off, again, like we just said, Envious Assassin, Bait Switch, absolutely disgusting. You can overflow the magazine, you get a huge damage increase, but alongside that, it also does have Cascade Point in this first column, which is very, very strong. You could just swap this, dump the whole magazine, and then if you have a way to reload that, you could potentially have a very strong swap DPS meta. But then in this fourth column, I mean, Frenzy, Bait and Switch, Full Court, Explosive Light, all these are very solid perks, but Bait and Switch is going to be your go-to option. No matter if you pair Envious Assassin or Cascade Point with Bait and Switch, you're going to be able to just proc it, mag dump the whole thing with more damage, or you could just constantly swap to it and just never have to reload and shoot like 20 shots out with 30% increased damage. This is going to be absolutely disgusting. And even if you don't want it for single target, it has things like chain reaction in the first column with the stabilizer rounds. You're just going to be able to cause explosions like crazy. And then it even has the destabilizing rounds, repulsive race, if you want to get an overshoot with this thing. So add clear alongside single target damage. This is going to be the best PvE grenade launcher in the game, and this is one you definitely want to farm for the final shape. Now for PvP, it has Impulse Amplifier, which is arguably the best perk for PvP, but you can also pair that with things like the stabilizing rounds or even Full Court to get that extra damage. So for PvP, this is going to be a very solid option as well. I don't know if it's going to be better than Cataphract for PvP, but for PvE, I think Edge Transit, if you don't have a good Cataphract, is going to be very, very strong. And it is nice, since Edge Transit is void, that can play into volatile rounds if you do have a consistent way to proc them. On a Falcon's Hunter, this will be the best DPS option that you can run. But now let's move on to Luna's Howl. In the third column, we have Eye of the Storm, Subsistence, Discord, Encore, Slot Shot, Enlightened Action, and Hill Clip, alongside Magnificent Howl, Kill Clip, Incandescent, Desperate Measures, Opening Shot, Precision Instrument, and Harmony. Now this was a huge PvP weapon back in the day, but for PvE, we do have things like Subsistence on it now, alongside Enlightened Action and even Hill Clip. Magnificent Howl, they said in the stream, it is actually pretty good in PvE now. It kind of works like Haku now, so I don't particularly see it being that good in PvE, but who knows, it could be very strong. We'll just have to wait and see once we get it in our hands. But you also have Kill Clip, Incandescent, and Desperate Measures, and obviously all those are very, very solid PvE perks. You pair Hill Clip and Incandescent, you're going to have a very strong Solar 3.0 build with giving you Cure and obviously applying Scorch everywhere. You could even go with the classic Kill Clip for if you just want a damage perk. Desperate Measures is probably going to be your way to go if you do go with a damage perk. So Desperate Measures and Enlightened Action just to get your reload speed up. I mean, Desperate Measures Subsistence is also very, very good, but I think if you're rocking this for PvE, you're probably going to go Hill Clip and Incandescent, because once you can get those enhanced when Final Shape comes out, this is going to be a disgusting hand cannon again for solar builds. Now for PvP, you have Eye of the Storm, you have Slide Shot, Hill Clip, and Enlightened Action also can work in PvP, but Magnificent Howl, it's obviously going to be pretty good at PvP. Alongside that, if you don't want to run that, you have Opening Shot, Precision Instrument, and I guess you can make Harmony work with Discord. That could be pretty fun. But I mean, just a very, very solid hand cannon here. Eye of the Storm, Opening Shot, if you just want a consistent hand cannon. Slash Shot, Opening Shot, that is always a classic role. You can play into Magnificent Howl with any of these perks up here in Eye of the Storm, Enlightened Action, Slash Shot. All of that is going to be very, very strong. If there ever is a time where Precision Instrument can lower your precision shots to kill, it's on here too. This thing is going to be crazy, crazy good for PvP. And I think for PvE, it does have some very solid perks as well. But moving on to Midnight Coup, I know this is what a lot of people are excited for. This is what I'm excited for. In the third column, we're going to have Outlaw, Firefly, Shoot to Loot, Explosive Payload, Moving Target, Attrition Orbs, and Enlightened Action, alongside Rampage, Kinetic Tremors, Zen Moment, One for All, Frenzy, Opening Shot, and Desperate Measures. So for PvE, already this thing has some crazy good act clear perks. You have Firefly in the first column. You can pair that with Rampage or Desperate Measures for a damage increase. You can even pair that with One for All, and Firefly should proc One for All, so that is going to be absolutely disgusting. That is going to be the highest damage boost here. We'll have to wait and see for Desperate Measures, but for One for All, just now, this will be a 35% damage increase with the ability to increase your reload speed and cause explosions. That is going to be very, very strong. You do have the classic Outlaw if you want to increase the reload speed as well with that, and Enlightened Action. But if you're increasing your reload speed, in my opinion, you might as well just go with Firefly, because it also causes explosions. It doesn't give it as much reload speed as these other two perks, but it does give extra active potential, so I think that's what you should pretty much just always go with. Now for a GM based weapon or just any harder content, you have explosive payload. You can also pair that with kinetic tremors. That is going to be absolutely disgusting. You're going to be able to just do a ton of damage, and then kinetic tremors proc even more damage. Kinetic tremors Firefly is even pretty good as well, but to me Firefly is like more of just like a everywhere type perk, where kinetic tremors you really only use this in harder content. Firefly you can make work in harder content, but you don't get to proc it as often because it just takes more shots to kill enemies. So that's why I think kinetic tremors and explosive payload combination will be better. And then for a ad clear role, Firefly one for all I think is going to be your way to go. And I want to give a notable mention to kinetic tremors and shoot to loot, because kinetic tremors actually can proc shoot to loot, which is very, very cool. Like you can pick ammo up, reload all your guns, and weapons in the game right now that do have this role do perform very well in Grandmaster, so you can definitely be able to look out for that too. Now for PvP, you also have some very strong perks as well. Explosive payload, moving target, those are going to be very, very solid. You can pair that with things like Zen Moment, which is going to be crazy to have on a hand cannon. You also have things like open a shot as well. So moving target and Zen Moment, you just shoot the gun, it is just going to work for you in the background. You're just going to get so many stats, the gun's going to be easier to use. You can also run explosive payload, opening shot, just make that first shot extremely easy to hit. And if you remember, Midnight Coup is one of the most crispiest villain hand cannons in the game, so having a good PvP role is going to be very solid. I personally will be looking out for moving target and opening shot, pairing that together, but I think Zen Moment could be a very, very fun option as well. But now let's move on to Hung Jury, the one that literally no one was excited for. But let's take a look at the perks. Rewind rounds, enlighten action, kinetic tremors, rapid hit, shoot to loot, no distractions, and loose change, alongside one for all, cascade point, box breathing, firefly, precision instrument, desperate measures, and explosive rounds. Now obviously I wish this could have been any other sky rifle, but let's be honest, this thing actually does have some pretty good perks. PvE, you have rewind rounds, enlighten action, kinetic tremors, rapid hit, shoot to loot. Literally all these are crazy good. Loose change is an interesting one because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a kinetic weapon, but I mean, that's on there. One for all is on here. Firefly, precision instrument, desperate measures, explosive rounds. There are a lot of good PvE perks on here. There's a lot of good combinations you could do. So for harder content or GMs, kinetic tremors one for all, that role is on here. Kinetic tremors should also be able to proc one for all. You're going to get that increased damage. It's going to be absolutely disgusting. Kinetic tremors, explosive rounds, that's also a thing for GMs. That is just going to be very, very good. In normal content, you have Firefly and rapid hit, just get your reload speed up, cause a lot of explosions. I mean, Firefly kinetic tremors also pretty good. Firefly and light action, get your reload speed up. You know, pairing those two together, you're going to have crazy fast reload speed. You even have fun things like rewind rounds and precision instrument. You know, we're going to have a scout rifle DPS med out here. You're going to sit here, you can just unload all your rounds, never have to reload, and just keep getting that precision damage increase. That could be pretty fun. Even rapid hit, explosive payload, enlighten action, explosive payload. There are so many different combinations you can have for every type of PvE content in the game, and I think for the most part, for me, I'm going to be going with kinetic tremors one for all, just to have a long range GM weapon, because if I'm running just like normal everyday content, I'm probably just going to run Midnight Coup anyway. But for GMs, if I need a scout rifle, I mean, kinetic tremors one for all is just going to be absolutely disgusting. Or again, kinetic tremors, explosive payload. Now if Hung Jury is your thing at PvP, you do have enlighten action and rapid hit. I would probably just take rapid hit, but no distractions as well. You even have cascade point, which could be very, very fun. Box breathing is also on here, precision instrument and explosive payload, so no distractions. Box breathing could be a very fun role, and box breathing on Hung Jury is pretty disgusting, so that would be one I would highly recommend you keep an eye out for. But again, cascade point could also be pretty fun as well. So for a PvP role, personally, I would just look out for rapid hit and box breathing, but all these other combinations will also be very good. There's really nothing you can go wrong here. But now let's move on to Elsie's rifle. I guess this is kind of the technically new weapon. Obviously it was in Destiny 1. Nothing that was in Destiny 2 at least. So in the third column, we have Feed and Frenzy, Zen Moment, Repulsor Brace, Loose Change, Keep Away, Under Over, and Rewind rounds, alongside Adrenaline Junkie, Frenzy, Destabilizing rounds, Kill Clip, Desperado, Desperate Measures, and Head Seeker. So the third column, you don't have any crazy double damage perks unless you want to count Under Over, but you do have Feed and Frenzy. It has Repulsor Brace if you want to play into that Destabilizing rounds playstyle to have those overshields, and I guess you can also count Rewind rounds, but I really wouldn't recommend using that. But then the fourth column, Adrenaline Junkie, Frenzy, Kill Clip, all these are pretty solid damage perks. Destabilizing rounds again for ad clear, and then you also even have Desperado could be pretty good, and Desperate Measures as well. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be that good in PvE unless they just make it good, since it's Elsie's rifle. But in PvE, in all honesty, I probably would just go Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing rounds, maybe Feed and Frenzy, Destabilizing rounds, or Desperado. That could be very fun. All these combinations will be good. I just don't unfortunately think it's going to be that good in PvE. Now for PvP on the other hand, we could have some very solid stuff here. We have Zen Moment and Keep Away in the third column. Honestly, two of the best perks in the game for PvP right now. You also have Kill Clip, you have Desperado, and if you want to go for just a more consistent route, you have Head Seeker. So this could be very, very strong. Zen Moment Head Seeker, Keep Away Head Seeker. You don't have to worry about the gun. You just shoot it. It's going to just do everything for you. Very, very consistent. But if you want to play the Desperado and Kill Clip, you can even pair that with things like Feed and Frenzy to have a reload perk, and then you can just slay out every single time you get a kill. But that is all of the new weapons and all the new perks coming. I have been yapping for quite a while. The ones I'm excited for the most are for sure going to be Hammerhead. I think it's going to be the best machine gun in the game. Recluse, I think it's going to be the best SMG in the game. Fallen Guillotine, I think potentially could be one of the best DPS swords in the game. Now, the fact that they can roll with double damage perks. Succession Forbearance, not really worried about those too much. Mountaintop, I'm excited to get my hands on again. It's going to be as strong as it was in PvE before, if not better, now that you can rocket jump with it. Blast Furnace, I'm excited for a PvP role. Don't really care too much about PvE. Edge Transit is going to be disgusting in PvE. I'm very excited for that. Luna's Howl, I never really used it much in PvP, honestly, and I don't think it's going to be that good in PvE. So, I mean, I'm excited for it, but we'll just see. Midnight Coup, I'm extremely excited for. Jury Elsie's rifle, I'm excited to play with the Stranger's rifle again, but I'm not really, you know, ecstatic about the perks or anything. I don't think I'm going to be using it too much unless it's just crazy good. Jury, not excited for it at all, but honestly, it does have some pretty good perks, so I will keep an eye out, you know, to get a god roll of these for, you know, if you just have a GM scout rifle or something. But overall, my final opinion, this is just going to be power creep. Some of these weapons are just disgusting. There are going to be no other weapons in the game that are even going to perform anywhere close to these. It honestly has me a little worried for final shape, because it's like, if, you know, we have a sword here with double damage perks, or, you know, we have Midnight Coup with Firefly One for All, and all these also give you ability energy back every time you get kills. I don't know what weapons of final shape would just be better than these, unless they just make those somehow even more disgusting. But we'll see. I'm going to be farming Onslaught a lot. I'm very excited for this. I'm also excited for next week's live stream. I'll probably be live streaming my reaction to that as well, if you guys would like to tune in to see that. But that is going to do it all for me. Let me know what you all are most excited for in the comments below, now that we know all the perk combinations. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace.